Hello, good morning. Hi, Rajiv. Hi, Nitish.
Hi, Jagdish.
Hi, Rajiv. Able to hear me, Rajiv? Hi Nitish, you can start the session today.
Okay, so I think it's two of us only, right?
Your voice is not clear, Nitish. I can hear you.
Yeah, but just saying it's two of us only.
Yes. Some people are not attending today. They may attend tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. They may join later also. Let us start because we are running out of time, right? I'm sharing my
Yes.
screen.
Okay.
As someone asked yesterday, these are the list of setups we have to do for our general ledger. And I mentioned the status of the setup, which has been training completed or not. The list which I mentioned has been training completed yesterday.
Okay.
And today is 05. What I mentioned today's date, I will complete today. Okay. Let us start. Let us start with the primary lecture. As someone asked yesterday, we should continue with the same chat of account. Actually, I've checked with Prasad for the instance change. He informed that instance will be get changed by week or days, right? So what Prasad informed is it will have to change. Use the seeded information to take the training, and to practice also you can use the seeded information.
Okay.
Okay, Natish. Let us start from the primary lecture. Natish, you can stop me anywhere and ask questions if you have doubt.
Yeah, sure. Just one thing. I mean,
Yes.
in the last session, we were not able to. If you remember, once we have saved the legal entity, we were not able to add the new address yesterday, and you said you will get back on that.
I'll check that one. And give me a minute. Prasad is calling me. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Nitish. Sorry, one more guy is joining us.
Okay.
Uh, so what about that? What about the legal entity address was? I checked yesterday and I've confirmed legal entity address once added cannot be deleted or removed. Once it can be only edited and we can add a new address. Let me show you it again. Okay, our legal entity is gone. What I will do, I'll create one legal address. changes received.
So does it mean once we save the legal entity, it is not possible to change the address, or we can select a new one?
No, we can end it and change the address. What I'm trying
Okay.
to say is, let me show you. Edit address. We can use the end date. It means till this day, this legal entity was registered in this address, and now we are moving to a new address. And we can create the address here, and we can save it. Save our new address. This is what I'm trying to say. Yesterday, I was trying to delete this address. We cannot delete the address. That is what I confirmed from the Oracle document. The reason behind this is you have to keep the record where you were operating before, right? We cannot delete it completely from the system. That is the reason the Oracle doesn't allow us to delete the address.
Okay, so we have to create the new address over here only in this window only.
Yeah, we can create here. Once the legal entity is created, we can create here from this window.
Okay.
That's it. This is a new address, and you can
Save it. Okay.
here there is an option called to mention which is your primary address. You can change this to this one as a primary address.
Okay.
Save address. That's it. Finished. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to primary ledger. Click on plus.
Yeah, so Jagdishan, one thing,
Yes.
on the date when we covered the general ledger part, so you told that general ledger is nothing but it is only the chart of accounts that we have in the system and how that chart of accounts is configured and all. So before we do go with the primary ledger, if you can little bit explain that how different is primary ledger from the general ledger? How is that?
No. I will say you the difference. There is a one more topic which will be included, which is secondary ledger. See,
Okay.
basically, general ledger is called as a module. Okay, so in general ledger, what does it mean? It's a ledger.
Okay.
That is a common terminology. This ledger we will use to save our journal transactions and our journal entry informations. In this, we have two different ledgers. Okay, one is primary ledger. Nothing. The name says as it is a base ledger. Primary ledger is mandatory, and there is one more ledger called secondary ledger, which is optional. Why it is called a secondary ledger is primary ledger will have your base currency. Let's take an example. Your head office and headquarters of your business is in US. Okay, you are running a business in India completely. That's okay, but you have to report to your headquarters, and headquarters should file a tax among them, right? You have to report your financial reporting, everything. In this case, here you will use currency as INR. You will define one more ledger and map this primary ledger to the secondary ledger, and its currency will be USD. So whenever you are posting a journal entries to primary ledger, what it will happen? Our setup will take care of the conversion of your journal entry from INR to USD and post one more journal entry in secondary ledger for you. So what you can do when you're running a trial balance report or whatever report financial statement you are trying to run, when you select a primary ledger name and run the report, you will get a reporting in INR. And when you select a and when you select a secondary ledger and run the report, you will get a report in USD and you can report it to your headquarters.
Okay.
This is one example. I will add those topics. I was searching for the topics on that. I will add those topics by tomorrow. These topics I have kept for tomorrow's session, like this uploading through COE, uploading through flat file, and account hierarchies, and secondary ledger will be added below this. Okay, this is in a draft mode. I'm just adding for other models also. This is the basic difference between general ledger and primary ledger. Primary ledger is nothing but it's a ledger. We are differentiating it as primary, secondary. General ledger is a module name.
Okay.
We will sell as US chart of account. So just a naming convention to the appropriate. According calendar MOY currency. The currency is INR. And India follows standard accrual. It's a standard accrual. So that's it about creating a primary ledger. The naming convention, chart of account. We have started our calendar, currency, accounting method. Don't worry about the we are seeing how to create chart of account and accounting calendar. Don't worry about the currency and accounting method. This will be seeded information directly given by Oracle. So this is done. We can save our primary ledger.
Hey Jagdish, this is Dhanaraj. So you said 4 C's, right? I see
Yes.
one chart of account, calendar, currency, and what is the last 4? Last
Convention.
C?
Convention.
Convention.
Yes, accounting convention. The 1 minute I'll show you. Accounting method, right? Is generally called as accounting convention. So it is also included in the C.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, fine. So once we create our ledger, let me show. Once we create our ledger, we can see our ledger status as in process. Okay, and there is no balance cube and average balance cube has been created. I will explain what is balance cubes later. Okay, when come to reportings, there is a reporting tool called FRS, Financial Reporting Studio. I will tell you what is balance cubes finally. If you see for another ledger, let's take an example of active ledger. See, you can see some balance cubes has been created. No average balance cubes are created. And our ledger is in process status. We have to make it as confirmed or active status, whatever it is. There are next setups to make this our ledger as active. Just now our ledger is in process. We have created a ledger. Once this is done, we have to go to next setup called. This is done. We have to go to next setup called specify general ledger options. We have created our ledger and we are specifying our ledger options. Give me a minute. We are specifying our ledger options. So before going to change the scope to our ledger, select an add, apply and go to task. Okay. Once this is done, see the name, description, currency, and chart of account, whatever we are given there automatically defaulted here. And whatever we are defined in the accounting calendar, the first period automatically comes up here. And number of future open period, interval period automatically comes up here. If you want to change your first period, you can change up here at the initial stage itself. Otherwise, we cannot change. I'm deciding my first period is Jan 22. And then standard account, this is a convention method, accounting method, standard accrual. As I told, once you have set up the primary ledger, you cannot change the 3Cs, and the final fourth C can be changed here. Before once the setup is done, we can also change, but once this is changed here, you can see a change in the primary ledger setup also, but it is recommended to use standard accrual itself. General language will be usually you American English.
So whenever there will be a change in these 4 Cs, then there will be a need to create a secondary ledger, right?
Yes, absolutely. When there is a change in forces, you have to any one of the C, you have to create a secondary ledger. Like I told, the example of currency change, and when I'm doing a US ledger, currency change will be there, and also calendar change will be there, right? US follows Jan to December. So any one C's change, we have to 100% go ahead for a secondary ledger. Okay, once done, we have to select our retained earning account.
And there will be only one primary ledger, right? Even if we have multiple legal entities in the system.
Yeah, in the system, we can have multiple legal entities and multiple primary ledgers also. For a country, you have to have primary ledger, right? But for an line of business you're running in the country, there will be only one primary ledger.
Okay.
So you can give your accounts, and if you want net closing balance journal, you can enable this tick box. And this is default period end rate, and this is default period average rate. While we are doing revaluations and other translations, other things, we can use this end rate or average rate. We can select here. This is for track revaluation gain or loss by multiple segments when we are going to revaluation topic. This is a checkbox. Like see if you see this page, each and every module will have a page like this, screen like this. It means ledger options. In accounts, it will be in accounts payable, it will be called as common option for payables. In receivable, it will be called as a receivable system option. In cash management, we won't have any system options. If fixed asset module, if we go, it will be called as fixed asset system option. System options and ledger options is nothing but here only we will define how our module for this ledger will work. What are options I can use? For example, if you want this ledger, you want to enable a suspense account, you can enable here. This is like a base for the module, base for your ledger or base for your business unit. For example, if you don't want a suspense for this, if it doesn't enable here for this ledger, you cannot enter any suspense account. If you don't want any journal approval for this is the place where we can say they should work or they should not work for my ledger. So like this, each and every module will have a system options. This is the base of the every module. Okay. So for let us take one example. You are trying to do an intercompany transaction for this ledger. Okay. Intercompany transaction is not working for this ledger. When you are trying to do a setup for intercompany, your ledger is not available in the intercompany. What you have to do is immediately you have to think of your specific ledger option and come into the setup, scroll down here and make sure whether the intercompany accounting is enabled or not. So like this isn't a base setup. You have to understand whether they should work for my ledger or not. Like this is the base setup. When we are going into the topic of this is just enable setup. When you are going into the topic of intercompany, there is a separate module. We will cover about the intercompany. When we are going into the module of intercompany, we'll explain in detail how it works. So in general, this setup, this is used to enable or disable. Okay. So if you want a journal approval or if you for notify when prior period journal central. This is just a information. If you enable this, let's take an example. We are in May. You are entering a journal for April. If you enable this checkbox, system will give you a message. Hey, you are in May. You are entering a journal for prior period. If it doesn't enable this checkbox, it will don't give any message. This is for just a message purpose. And this is mixed statistical journal. We should allow the statistical journal and monetary journal or not. Validate reference data is about we will provide a reference data in the system in the journals. It should be allowed or not. Limit a journal to single currency. All those checkboxes you will provide whatever account. If you are enabling a suspense account, when I'm doing a journal entry and my journal entry finds some amount is a suspense amount, it is not hitting any of the accounts. Okay, when it's a suspense amount, it should hit which account, which is my default suspense account, which is my rounding account, which is my currency balancing rounding account. What should be threshold for my balancing percent? For example, 5% can be my balancing. So all those information can be provided. And if you want reconciliation, you can enable your input. There is an option, for example, EBS doesn't have this option for importing the journals. Here, there is an option for importing journals. For each and every module as an FVDA or ADFDA for importing journals in accounts payable invoices, receivable invoices, and receipts, payable assets. Like here in import option, we are mentioning separate journals by accounting date during journal import. What does it mean? If you are importing a journal, let's take an example. Today is May 5, right? So if you are importing a journal for 5 days, if you're importing 100 journals for your 5 days, you can create a single journal, and in a single journal or in a single batch, you can create a multiple journals under it with the last accounting date called May 5. If you enable this checkbox, what system will do is separate journal by accounting date. What does it mean? If you are enabling, if you are doing any, if you are posting a journal entries with a different date, what will happen when the accounting date is different 0102 May 03 May, system will automatically what it will do, it will create as 5 different batches or 5 different journal entries. So the checkbox is here, and then intercompany enable the told to turn on or turn off for your intercompany. And there is one more option called journal reversal criteria set. This is about for example, let's take an example. Some journals have to be reversed automatically. You find this journals to be reversed automatically once my period is next period is open. For the previous period, you want to reverse the journal automatically. This is the place. As you can see, this is an LOV. We have to define journal reversal criteria in another setup, and we can come and select here. When we go to journal reversal criteria, we'll explain how it is useful, how it works. These checkboxes, whether it should run auto reverse for after open period or we can run it manually. And this one, synchronize reversals between primary and secondary ledger. You want to reverse the journal only in primary ledger or in secondary ledger? In your general practice, if you whatever changes you are doing to the primary ledger, it should reflect the secondary ledger also. Why? Because we have to report the same in the secondary ledger. Not we are not going to report something different between this. So this will be enabled in general. Then finally, our accounting document sequence. Document sequence is nothing but, say for example, when you're entering a AR or AP invoice, what you'll do, your invoice number may be different, right? In AP, your invoice number will be based on the document whichever a supplier has given you. When supplier creates an invoice for you, they will have their numbering. One supplier will give a different number, another supplier will give the invoice as a different number. You have purchased, they have given you a bill, right? The bill number you are entered in AP. In this case, what Oracle does is, if you want to know the sequence of your AP invoices or AR invoice, there is an option called document sequencing. Whenever you create your whatever your invoice number may be, whenever you are creating invoice, there will be a document sequence number which will be gap. You can keep it as gapless. Like there should not be gap in my AP document sequences. But like UAE follow this. Why? Because if there is a like example, when you have an invoice pad, if you are tearing one of the bill, and there will be question comes, right? What happens to this bill, and are you cheating to the government, or you avoiding the tax? Like that in system, you have to follow the order gapless document sequence. So for this purpose of document sequencing, we use this. Guys, give me a minute. Okay, we can continue. So this is about document sequence. How what this setup does? See, you have to enable this document sequence by legal entity or ledger. You can decide here, and you can see one more option here called enforce document sequence. What does it mean? If you enforce document sequence means without document sequence, you cannot create a AP invoice. Document sequence is mandatory. When you try to validate your AP invoice, if you enable this checkbox, what it will say? Error. It will give you a error, not even a warning. It will give you a error saying your document sequence is not enabled. You have to enable the document sequence, then only you can enter an invoice. If you doesn't enable this and only provide this, document sequence is not mandatory, but it even document sequence number will be generated, but it is not mandatory. And then enforce chronological order on document sequence account date. What does it mean? Means for let's take an example. 4th May you are entering an AP invoice. 5th May you are entering an AP invoice. You are missed on 2 AP invoices yesterday, and you are trying to enter it in a May 5. Okay, what it will do is for what it will do. For example, you lost used AP invoices 1000. Today it should be 1001 and 1002, right? When you are trying to enter for 4th May, it will say chronological order will be missing. Your accounting date is yesterday's date. You cannot able to enter this AP invoice. So in general, people won't use this because obviously some invoices we will get by the late evenings also by 8 or 9 p.m. No one can sit and enter by the late evening. So mostly they won't enable the chronological order and document sequence in accounting date. This is about specify ledger option. Any doubts on the screen?
And what is the difference between ledger option with legal entity and with the ledger? There's one more option, sequencing by ledger.
No sequencing, and this is by ledger. The difference between legal entity and ledger is, let's take an example. Your ledger has three different legal entities. Should my document sequencing be common across legal entity, or it should common across ledger, or it should be specific by the legal entity? Let's take an example. Legal entity 1, legal entity 2, 1000, 2000, 3000. If you enable by legal entity, this will be a document sequence. It is specific by your legal entity. This will follow 1001, this will follow 2001, this will follow 3000. If you enable by ledger document sequencing, whatever legal entity you have here, it will follow. We will give you a starting number of 1000. Then whatever invoices you are entering in this three legal entity, it will follow like this: 1001, 1002, 1003. If you are entering 5 invoices here, it will be 1004 to 1010. Then you are entering a third invoice in your legal entity 3, it will be a 1011. Understood? Hello? Hello? Got the difference?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's it about our specified ledger option. I'm signing a specified ledger options.
And this subledger accounting means accounting from the subledgers like APAR, right?
Subledger accounting is subledger API. Yeah. AP or cash management, fixed asset, everything. Other than general ledger models, all are sub-ledger models. System, what error, when I try to say what system gave the error message was, you have enabled your suspense, you should enter suspense account or either disable the suspense. You have changed the sequencing option which are copied to secondary ledger and alternative currency. What it is saying, you are changing the sequencing option. It will be copied to a secondary or alternative currency ledgers unless option is set to none. Do you want to continue? You must create a new sequence assignment after changing the options. What it is saying is, you are changed here. Do you want if you have a secondary or reporting ledger currency, you want it will be changed to that also unless it is set to none. And you also need to do a setup in AP for document sequencing. You will do it in AP document setups. Save and close. Okay. Our specified ledger option is done. Once the specified ledger option is done, what we can do? We can do our assign legal entity and assign balancing segment to our legal entity. First, what we are going to do is we are going to assign our legal entity to our ledger. Means we are linking our legal entity to our ledger. So it is defaulted with our ledger itself, so you can go in directly. Okay, so see, under this ledger, there is no link entity has been selected. What you can do, click on plus, set your legal entity. Click on apply. Done. That's it. You can see there is no company value defaulted. Why? Because we have not assigned any primary balancing to this legal entity, right? Once the next setup is done, we can navigate into this setup and we can see a company value populated here. So close. So we have assigned our legal entity to our ledger. Now what we are going to do is we are assigning our primary balancing segment value to our legal entity. So you can see legal entity has been default. Now click on plus. Let's take let's take 911 as our company. Okay, we'll take 102 as our company. Save. That's it. That's been done. Save. Save close. Okay, this is done. We can navigate back to our assign legal entity setup. We can see our company value here, right? So we have assigned our legal entity to this ledger. Means this legal entity belongs to this ledger, and this primary balancing segment belongs to this legal entity. Okay, this two are done. And set assignment, then business unit set assignment we have done yesterday. So now we have linked our ledger to legal entity and our primary balancing segment to our legal entity. Now what we have to do, we have to link our business unit to our legal entity and primary ledger. As shown yesterday, assign business unit business functions. Okay, we don't have any business unit. Let us create one sample business unit. I will use a common set here. Then our business unit functions will select your business unit. I'm enabling billing, customer, sorry, not contract, customer payment, uh, enabling payable invoicing, payable payment, procurement. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Now I've enabled my business function saying AR AP is required for this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm select my primary ledger. So you can see legal entity will automatically default here. See, that's it. We have enabled our business unit functions for this BU, and we have said that this BU belongs to this legal entity and primary ledger. Okay, so this is done. And now what we have to do is we will open our first period. Before opening our first period, what we have to do is I said, right, our primary ledger is in process status. We can see one time. And we can make it as active. In process status. To make it as active, once all of your setup has been done in primary ledger, what you will do, review and submit accounting configuration. Okay, it has been a default ledger and review and submit accounting configuration. Here in this page, you can view what all belongs to this ledger, or see, or whatever we have assigned it to this ledger, everything. See your legal entity name, your company value, name, ledger type, currency, chart of account, calendar, method. Okay, I'm okay with this. I'm going to submit this. Okay, just for reviewing and submitting. Program has been submitted. Number is 4565839. To check our schedule process, we should navigate to. Always remember, wherever you are submitting any schedule process, you have to navigate to tools, schedule processes. Program has been started running. Load chart of account values has been completely succeeded, and now it is creating a balance cube for us. Okay, so our program got succeeded. Then navigate as settings and actions, setup and maintenance, change to your offerings, financials, or primary ledger. Yeah. Now, as you can see, your balance cube has been populated. We'll explain what is balance cube and the status is changed to confirm. So your ledger is active now to do a journal entry. Okay. So your ledger is active. We have defined anything. Before you do a journal entry, you have to open your period, right, for your ledger. So I'm navigating to open first period. This is the setup, UG ledger. Change to your ledger. Okay. Before this, I wanted you guys to understand one basic concept of security in our Oracle Fusion. See, there is an option called data access set, right? We will learn now what is meant by data access set and how does it work. Whenever you are creating a ledger, our ledger automatically will create a data access set for your ledger. Okay, I'm navigating to data access set. Yeah, this one. I'm navigating to data access sets. I'm typing our ledger name. See, I'll show you the about record. Whatever we created, this data access is automatically generated by the system. Okay, what does it mean and how it is used? Okay. So this is the automatic system generated data access set and it cannot be updated. What it does is it gives you a name, it tells you what access you have full ledger and chart of account default dignity account category this defaults here, and below your ledger, whatever ledger, the type ledger, all values you have access, the privileges, read and write everything. This automatically create. How this is useful and by using this, how we can provide the security to your user. Let's take an example. This is auto system generated, right? For example, there is two different users. One is general ledger manager. He is accounting manager. Another person is just an accountant. Accounting manager will have an access to read and write. It means they can review the journals and they can create the journals. And if you give a privilege as only read, what you have to do? This if you provide this data access set, what it will happen? They can have access to create it, right? So I'm canceling this. I want a custom data set. Read only. Add a chart of account. Select a calendar and select your ledger. Okay, so what is access set type? As I said, for a ledger, you can have a different legal entity, right? When you have a different legal entity, you will assign you have to assign a balancing segment for each legal entity. So in this case, you have to mention whether this data access should provide the user full ledger access or only primary balancing segment access. When I click on primary balancing segment access, see, you can see an option, new option called specific value. What does it mean? If you have 101, 102, 103 balancing segment, if you select the access and I'm giving this access to read only access to 101. So what you will do when you click on plus, you will specify only specific value. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do it by primary balancing segment value type wise. I'm going to do it by full ledger. So I'm selecting the full ledger, click on plus, select your ledger. Type ledger came, read and access. Just select read only, privilege, and save this. Anybody has any doubt on the screen?
No.
Right. So you are done it. Now I'm saving this data access set, and we have defined what are the types of access to be given, And what we have to do now is we are going to provide the user data access to the ledger. Before that, let me show you the screen. Financials, just type data access. So we have done the data access. Don't worry about seeing all those. See, it will say reference data access, ledger data access by itself for user, business unit, inventory organization, asset book. All those setups will navigate to a single setup only. Then what is the difference? I will tell you the difference now. When I'm navigating into data access, set data access user, you can see the security concern defaults to data access. See, there are multiple security concerns. Okay, it belongs to each and every module. Okay, and click on done. Type data access. The same page you see for when I'm going into business unit data access for user, the same page you will land, but security concern will be business unit. Understood? So the same page, the page name is manage data access for user. That's it. So you can navigate into anything and you can change. So I'm navigating to business unit data access. I'm changing to data access set. Here, what we are seeing here is just a search option. For example, let us search our select our user here.
Can you please explain once again what is this security context means? I'm not clear on that.
Yeah, okay. Security context is nothing. It's like an you have the EBS experience or
no EBS.
Oh, yes, okay. In EBS, they called as responsibility. Okay, security concern is nothing but you can see business unit, ledger, manufacturing plant, project organization, inventory organization, right? Intercompany organization. When I click on plus and start doing, I will explain you what is this. This is the security concern. When I'm searching, creating it, I will explain you. Okay. So first, I will explain about how to search. Okay. So what you have done, you are selecting a security concern as data access. What you have to do is select as all, or we'll explain once you understand the security concern, you will understand how to search. Okay, I'm selecting as all. This will go off. You have to select again. See the radio button here. What it says, user without data access. It will give you the list of roles you have and you don't have the data access. You have to search it user with data access to find, for example, the search is to find what my user has the data access. Okay, so I'm clicking on all and select user with data access. You can see the radio button. As I said before, asterisks. As I said before, when you see two asterisks, it is optionally mandatory, not both are mandatory. So I'm searching by selecting my user only, or if you want to know this particular role has access or not, you can select your role and search. But I'm searching user with to see what all my user has access to. I'm searching this. So I found, okay, my user has all those access. These all my user access. I can export to Excel and find. This is about general search. Now I will explain what is all this security concern value. What is all this? Okay. So let us reset. Click on I'll go back and come in again. This is about the search page. Now I'm going to create. Okay. Click on plus. Select your username. in_impl. Set your username. And see, as you're seeing here, this all our list of values, right? Then it should have been defined somewhere, right? So there is a place called security console. these are upcoming classes. We'll explain you how to create your user, how to assign your roles, how to how to see what are the roles, and how to copy the role and do a custom role, and how to add the roles to your user, how to reset the password, how to if your user is locked by putting a wrong password more than three times, how to remove the lock, how to compare the roles. This role have what access, this role have what access, how to compare that. This will be in a future class. But basically, I'm trying to make you understand this user is created in security console. Remember the name security console. And for this user, you should have been assigned your role. Okay. To access your general ledger, you have to assign a role. There is two different roles. One is general account manager and general accountant. Don't worry, while I'm covering this security console, I will give you the each list of roles that you have for each modules. Okay, that will be a deeper class. In general, before assigning this data access, I'm trying to make you understand. We have created a user and it is available in the LOV, and whatever roles has been assigned to your user will be only available in this LOV. So what I'm going to do is I want to access my general ledger. I hope general ledger role is assigned already. Yeah. So see here, general accounting manager and general accountant, right? So I'm assigning my user general accounting manager. Okay. And when it comes to the security console, the question has came on security concept. What is security concept? Okay. Let me ask you one question. General ledger is running by a ledger or business unit or inventory organization or manufacturing unit. By yes, please.
Sorry, if you can
No,
repeat.
my question is in general ledger module, what we are doing? We are entering a journal entries, right?
Right.
We are entering for business unit or manufacturing plant or inventory organization or ledger.
Business unit.
No, journal entries can be entered for ledger, not for business unit. Subledger transactions like AP, other transaction only can be entered for business units. General ledger is by ledger. For ledger, you can create journal. Okay, you clear with this now?
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So when you are assigning, okay, let's take an example. I'm assigning a role. I'm giving a data access to accounts payable manager. What accounts payable manager, which module this belongs to is payable modules. Okay. When it comes to payables, will I enter for business unit or inventory organization for ledger? Business unit, right? So that's about your security concept for which you are going to give access. When you are going to accounts payable manager, see, LOV itself restricted to business unit. So why? Because you can in accounts payable you can enter transaction for business unit only. In accounts payable you cannot enter transaction for inventory organization. Inventory organization will be available for. 1 minute, let me see. Item manager role is there. I don't think it is not there. Inventory organization will be available for item manager or product manager. Inventory organization will be available for our general for our in general accounting manager. You can see all those things, not all those things. So see, it has been restricted to your data access set and intercompany organization, right? So to our general ledger general accounting manager, we can enter entries for ledgers only, right? For our ledger, what we have done, we have created a data access set. Remember, before this, we have created a data access set, right? You have to select your security context. Another example, let me show you.
So
See,
Jagdish, you mean to say,
Hmm.
so here we will specify up to which level the user has to get the access.
Absolutely, up to which level, and yes, you are right, absolutely, exactly. For example, if you have 4 ledgers, this user need to have access for which ledger? That's the setup we are doing there. Clear?
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is let's take and see. First, I will explain you. I will let you know what all the things we will use in general ledger. We will create journal. For where we can create a journal for our ledger. In AP, we will create invoices and payments for against which we will create for each business unit. Same for AR also. And then in cash management, we will create for bank transact. There will be transactions. Obviously, we'll create for bank and we'll load the statements in cash management. There are different type of loading statements. We'll explain you that. And this is against legal entity and ledger business unit, whatever we can give the access. I will explain you why it does different things when I come to cash management. But when you go to FA, fixed asset module, you will create you'll create an asset there against which against a asset book. We will create an asset book. So these are the security concepts for against which we are creating a transaction. We are creating against ledger in general ledger, BU, this cash management, share everything, FA. Let's take an example. I'm selecting. They are not assigned asset. They are not assigned asset accounting manager. Let us assign it. Okay, I will show you here. The security concept asset book is there, right? When we are giving access to FA, we will give access to asset book against which we are doing the transaction. Got it? Got an idea on security? What is security concept? Contest. Okay. Now I'm giving access to my ledger, general accounting manager. I'm selecting the data access set. See, as we created two, one is India system created. This is our custom created. When I select this and provide the access, there will be no access for creating journals and all. When I select this and provide access, you will have access to you. This is only read-only access. You can see everything. You cannot do. You cannot open your PDF. You cannot create a journal. Nothing. So I'm giving access to my system generated security concept. That's it. What I'm saying here, this user, this is the role, security concept is data access set. This is the security concept value. My ledger name or what is my data access set. Save and close. Yes, I have provided access. What I have to do now is I'm navigating to first to open period. So now I'm having access to my ledger or data access. Now I'm going to open my first to open period. First open period, open period. Okay, I cannot see my ledger still in this. I have to log out and log in. Usually when you provide data access or when you add any new roles to a user, you have to log out and log in. If still log out and log in doesn't work, there is a one program called user synchronization program. We have to run that. First, let me run that program. Once the data access or zero roles has been added, we have to run this. See, when you navigate to setup and maintenance, immediately it will land in this page. Run user roles synchronization process. Click on this. What this program does? This program does synchronize user role and role grants. Role grants is nothing but which we are giving data access with the definition of latest data retrieval. Okay, so just you have to submit this program. And as I said before, Whenever you submit any schedule process, you have to navigate to tools, schedule processes. Let it run. I will try log out and log in and check whether access came on. Oh, give me a minute. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll take my password. Okay, I'm sharing the screen again. I'm still not getting access. I'm checking on it. Still running. Okay, while it is running, there are many users, so it's taking time. While it's running, we'll cover another topic and come back. Okay.
Jagdishan, just before we jump on to the another topic,
Yes.
I would like to know on this Excel sheet, is there
Mhm.
any kind of sequence we need to follow that this function has to be performed first and then we, because for us it is very difficult to, understand because there are so many things to configure in the system.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
yeah, I mean, how should a person who doesn't have any experience can, follow and do these
No,
configurations?
it is mostly in the sequence. What I have to modify, I'm not giving you this sheet. I will modify once everything is done.
Hmm.
General ledger I will load by today to the drive. You can get access from the Prasad and you can download each and every module. Not only this, I will provide a task name, whether it is optional or mandatory, and what is the sequence of the task. I will provide you the list clearly by today EOD. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So when this runs, let us navigate to one other topic called manage journal source and journal categories. Journal source and journal categories is nothing but, see, there are different types of journal categories, right? For let's take an example from where all journal can come. What all the ways we can create journal? Any idea?
I mean, journals can be created like we can create manual journals and journals can be created from the sub ledgers as well, like
Absolutely, absolutely,
ARAP.
absolutely. You're right. So that's the setup we are navigating to manage journal source. As you said, see, it can come from various modules. Our finance modules is asset and payables. See, most of them are predefined. You have nothing to do with this setup unless and until you want to create one more custom manual journal source. Okay, you cannot modify this. You should not modify the standard thing.
Mhm.
See receivables. Okay.
We'll be having a spreadsheet as well
Correct.
to import
Absolutely.
the
It will come under
bulks.
manual journal. You can if it's absolutely there on spreadsheet. Yes, spreadsheet upload is there. So if you want one more custom for like example, what when the journal source is creation is required, right? There's a classic example, and obviously when you're doing an implementation, you will be required. When you're doing an implementation from the legacy system, whichever they're using, you have to migrate some balances, right, to our general ledger. The whole system balances to be migrated to our general ledger. For that purpose, we will create one more journal source called data migration, and you will load. Why we are creating one more journal source data migration? You can load in the spreadsheet itself, right? But why we are creating is to identify these are for the data migration balances journal we have migrated. So to identify that, we will create. Other than this, if user wants any custom, you want to identify this journal belongs to this journal belongs to this, he can create any custom journal sources. That's all about the sources. These are the general our general standard things, and I will explain this, right? The name, source key, descriptions and all. So this is about, I will explain this options. Okay. Freeze journal. What is mean by freeze journal? There are options, no, partial, allow, import, correction only, yes. What does it mean? Freeze journal means this is from receivables. So you have no rights to modify in the general ledger. So this will be in freeze. If you are doing in manual, you can change it, or journal will not be freezed. Okay. Accounting date rule. The accounting date rule is nothing but you use to determine the balance processing. For example, you are you are loading in a for last date of the period. Okay, like the 31st or 30th, whatever last date of the period. When you there is a concept called period end rate, period average rate. Period end rate is when you're loading this journal at the period today. Take the end rate. What is the rate today? Take the rate because the rate may vary, right? Each and every day exchange rate may vary. Take the end rate. That's it. Average rate means sum of the 30 days, which whatever data I mean. For example, I mean 10, sum of the 10 days rate and divide by keep it the average and use that rate. So the date rule, what you have to, it's whether roll date or accounting date to fail means it won't consider leave on means it won't consider. If you do always you will use roll date. Roll date in the sense roll up all the dates and use average. If this option is only used when you are using average and end rate. If you are not using average and end rate, you are just going ahead with your corporate rates. No issues. You can this setup is not required. Roll date will not be considered. Next, import journal reference. What does this mean by import journal reference? For example, when you are importing a journal from receivables, okay. While creating a journal, I will show you this feature. There will be a amount, right? The amount there will be a drill down. It means hyperlink. When you click on the amount, it will take you the page where the journal came from. Where the journal came from is simple. When the journal source came from receivable, if you click on the amount, it will show you a pop-up page of receivable invoice number. This is the source where it came from. This is the reference for this journal. That's it. If you uncheck this, it won't be available. Usually, it will be checked. This one required journal approval by journal source. If a receivable comes in journal, this required approval or not. This one import using key. This is like for example, when you are loading an spreadsheet upload, what this says is see import using source key instead of the source name. For example, when in sheet, when you're uploading, there is a mandatory column called journal source. What you want to use in the journal source, what you have to provide, whether this or this. You have to provide receivables or your receivable source key. If you enable this, you have to provide your receivable source key. And if you doesn't enable, you can provide your source name and import. While importing, you will understand why which column you will provide this. Okay. Then limit journal to single limit journal to single currency. For in a journal batch, you can enter multiple different currencies, or you want to limit this journal to a single currency. Single journal should have single currency or multiple currency. This is the option. Usually, you will not enable this. Only import journal references. This is mandatory. This is a good feature you have to enable. Otherwise, you cannot find from where this comes from. This is about journal source. Any doubts on this?
Just once again, if you can repeat the freeze journal thing, why it is required.
No. Freeze journal is like you want to freeze journals and you want to allow edit or corrections. So you are doing in a manual journal. It's in general. Just think it about. You are doing a manual journal. You are allowed to correct it, right? When it is coming from another source, you have to go to that source. You have to cancel the invoice there itself. When it is coming from the another source and you are making a correction in general ledger, what it will happen? It will end up in a reconciliation fail. Usually what they will do at every end of the month, they will do a reconciliation between subledgers to a general ledger. Why they are doing reconciliation? To make sure all those transactions has been recorded in general ledger or not.
Right.
So for what you are doing, if you are allowing here partial correction is allowed, we are saying no, don't freeze my journal. What it will happen? Someone may mistakenly cancel this journal or correct this journal date or something. Then when you are trying to do a reconciliation, obviously it will mismatch from the journal, so the GL and receivable, right? For that purpose, mostly from the subledger module, it will be freezed journal only.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Yep.
Yeah. So this is about journal source. Then I'm moving to journal category. Yeah, journal category is Simple. For example, um, payables will have their own general categories, right? For let's take an example. When okay, can you just give one example? What type of journals will come from payables? Any idea? Yes, you can give it a try. That's it. So in payables, what will enter? Invoices and payments, right? So,
Right.
so whether it is from payment or whether it is from invoice, that is a general category. What type of general category is this? This is from invoice or payments. If it is cash management, it will have a different general category. That's it. So accrual, addition. See, addition, adjust, retirement, adjustment. This and all belongs to asset. When you do an asset, it is an addition. When you retire when you retire your asset, it is a retirement. When you adjust your asset, it is a adjustment. So sources from asset. Yes, sources from asset. And what category I am sending from the asset? That is your journal category, right? So here is one option. Usually in implementation, we will enable this. Why? Because see, this adjustment should obviously come from asset, right? We cannot create a journal entry for this adjustment manually in general ledger. If you want, if you are not billing your user, like see, they may do a mistake. Yeah, obviously user may do the mistake. So the purpose, what you will do, you will enable with this checkbox. What this checkbox will do? Exclude from manual journal entry. That's it. If you enable this checkbox when you are creating a manual journal, this category won't be available. So no problem. User cannot make a mistake. User cannot select this one. Only this category journal entries from this category will come from the asset module. That's it. This is about journal categories. Any doubts in this?
Hey, Jagdish, I need to drop. Okay, I'll join.
No
tomorrow.
problem. No problem. Yeah. Okay, this is about journal categories. Any doubts in this?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So let us check our process.
Why we need category? Is any specific reason, especially for posting or to just for reporting purpose?
Absolutely, it's for reporting purpose. Why? Because we have to know. Oh, right. See, you can say this journal is from my asset module, but you have to say, you have to find out for what this journal has been done. Either for I'm retiring my asset, or I'm posting my asset, or I'm adjusting my asset, or I'm transferring a asset. What is the category of this journal? To know, and for the reporting purpose, we are using journal categories.
Normally, when we migrate the data, so in source you said data migration, something source we are able to put.
Correct, correct.
Category also we are able to choose something like that.
Yeah, we can create and use category. We will do. We will create a data migration category and we can use it.
Okay.
So our program is done. So let me log out and log it again. Hope this comes this time. I want to investigate. Let me start sharing this. Still not appearing in my list. I will investigate this and come back to you tomorrow. Okay. We have provided the role data access also. I don't know why it is not still available. We run the program also. I will investigate this and get back to you tomorrow. I have noted this down. Okay, so we have completed this setup. First open period will continue tomorrow. Okay, I think it's time up. We can continue these two topics tomorrow, not a problem. Okay, guys. Any doubts on this today's session?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, fine.
Actually, I was having some issue in the enterprise structure what we discussed. So is this okay to discuss right now?
Yes, it's fine. If we have a minute, we can discuss.
Over there, the structure, the way you written in Excel sheet is just for understanding purpose or explanation. I'm not sure.
Which
But it
one? This
was
Excel
like
list of setups, right?
not set up. In PPT, it was
PPT.
written
Okay, okay.
like ledger, below
Hmm.
ledger, legal entity, and
Hmm.
after that, all setups like BU and all.
Hmm.
So ledger entity is the top thing, what we define first, and then all other setups.
No. See, enterprise structure order doesn't mean we have to define this first and we have to define this second. It's an hierarchy of the uh, organization. That's it. Why? Because the ledger is the topmost guy. Ledger for a ledger we can have multiple legal entities. Okay. For ledger we can have multiple legal entities. Uh, we cannot have a single legal entity assigned to do two different ledger. So that's why it is a top. Under legal entity, we can have multiple BUs.
Great, great. So now over here, let me take the same example what you were explaining yesterday. Yesterday, Tata Group. You explained Tata Motors. Now I want to introduce Tata Motor India and Tata Motor UK, maybe
UK.
Range Rover and those. So both have different ledger because
Correct.
their fees are different. Currency, calendar, way of accounting practices and all.
Correct, absolutely.
So now where I'll set the legal ledger?
We have to define a complete new structure, new ledger, new legal entity, and new business.
Then how, as a reporting purpose, how both balances and all I'm able to show it at once. And together, if like a group, if I want to show some report, is it any possibility or both separate I have to mandatorily show?
No, it's a possibility. There is a, see, for example, you want to see, let's take this is India. And in UK, these are, let's take, these are your branches. This is not your head office. So your reporting head office is USA. You will have a different legal entity at USA, BU at USA, right? What you will do here is you will create a secondary ledger with US currency. Here with US currency. What it will happen? There is more setup we'll explain tomorrow. What it will happen? Whenever you are posting in India ledger, when the setup is completed, automatically it will transfer your journal entries into USD and will post here. This also automatically transfer your journal entry and you post here. And this naturally it is in US dollars, so no worries. So what you have now, you have, let's take you want a consolidated P&L, correct? What you have now, you have an three different P&L, and now three different P&L is in USD, so you can consolidate the P&L. That's it.
Okay.
This is the way. This is the reason when this scenario comes up, you want to report to US that finally you can use this. That's it. You can use a secondary ledger option. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
In this case, can we have the report only for that particular, ledger wise, not at topmost level?
Yeah,
But,
we can see, for example, when you're running a trial balance report, let's take the trial balance report. You want to run in US or your own currency? Hari? You want to run your report in your own currency, ledger currency, or in USD?
yeah, see, in this example, actually, we earlier our thought is like having a different ledger for India and UK.
Correct.
Now I want to have a report for India.
Jagdish.
Yes, what you have to do when you are running a trial balance.
Hello.
Yes, Ajit, we can hear you. Hello. Nitish.
Hello.
Nitish, Hari, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so we lost Ajit, I guess. Ajit?
No, I'm here.
Okay, I can hear you. Yes, tell me.
Yeah, see, these reports may we require all the places for all different federations, right? So we may need to run it at India level also to
Obviously.
and UK also, or maybe at our top US level also. We are supposed to run at any place. So that
Correct.
is
Correct, you can run. What I'm trying to explain is, for example, you are running a trial balance. Whenever we are running a trial balance, the first parameter, it is mandatory parameter, right? You want to select your ledger. If you want to run a trial balance or P&L or whatever balance, whatever you want to run, you can run it by selecting. If you want to run for India ledger, you can run by selecting the name India ledger. You want to run for UK, you can run for UK. If you select India and run, you will get the trial balance in India. If you select UK and run, you will get the trial balance in pound. If you select US and run, you will get a trial balance in US. If you select India secondary ledger and run, you will get a balance in India secondary ledger in USD. If you select this, it's about the selecting the parameters. You have now 5 different parameters, 5 different reports you can run. So if you what does it mean? If you are creating secondary ledger, it doesn't mean you cannot run in India. It just what is the base you will have. Whenever you're moving to the general ledger, if you select the base ledger, you will have all the journal entry available there, and it will copy the journal entry in USD and post in the secondary ledger also not completely transferring to secondary ledger. It is posting in secondary ledger also. So for reporting purpose, which report you want, you can select the ledger and you can run the report.
okay.
Clear now? Once we go, let me show you one trial balance. So this parameter, we can play with the parameter. So to play with the parameter, you have to post the journal entries. To post the journal entries, you have to define your setup properly like this. If you want, yes, I want a trial balance in US for India, then you have to you have to define your secondary ledger. Well, it is taking too long. Yeah, able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
See here. See, let's take an example of for Belgium. What they have done, they have created primary ledger and they have created second ledger. When I click on Belgium primary ledger, what it happens? See, it defaults to your ledger currency, right? When I change to Belgium secondary ledger, what happens? they have not defined it properly, so it will be fine. That's why it's coming like this. 1 second, let me check whether any other it's to China. Secondary ledger. See, when I'm selecting a secondary ledger, it is automatically changing to US dollar. So you can play with the parameter and run the report and come in the report. That's it. Consolidation is out of Oracle. The people accountants have to do, but from the system you can track it from different things. This let's take this on there's an India secondary ledger. You can run the balance, the report you will get in USD. Clear now, guys?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. Any other doubts? Can we conclude our session today?
Jagdish, I need your contact number. Today I was waiting almost 10-15 minutes in the queue.
Sorry,
So-
sorry. It's absolutely it's my mistake. Was very
No. It's not about
discussing.
mistake. Just you may be going in flow, so you
Oh
may
yes,
not.
yes. No
It's
problem.
okay.
Prasad pinged me. I have to take care of this. I will let you in tomorrow. And as per Prasad instruction, I cannot take your number and I can.
No problem. Just done. It's okay. No problem.
Yeah,
So
that's,
if this happened, is it okay now? I'll ping Prashad.
you can ping Prasad. You have to ping Prasad. Tomorrow it won't happen. I will take care of this.
Okay. Thank you.
And it will be easy for you. You too. You also to join in the flow when you join at 7, because you may miss some topics, right?
Yeah. Actually, I'm actually from different company, country. So
Country.
over
Okay.
here is a very early morning.
Understood.
Uh,
Understood.
it's sometimes 10-15 minutes here and there happen.
Okay. No problem. So tomorrow we can meet. I will admit you. Right? Doesn't notice the pop-up. But tomorrow I'll admit.
No. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.